Good morning, CSL Parker. Stand if you are able. We're going to sing. Some may dance, some may clap. Oh, I see you. Here we go. We know this one. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. You look really good out there. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. We're going to sing those same words again over this really funky part. So, bring your greatest funk. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. Now, greet your neighbor however it feels good. A hug, a handshake, a hello. Woo! I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can. Sure does. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. One more time with I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do.
All right. Thank you. Good morning. You know what? I'm loving this expansive band that we have here, but they're kind of encroaching on my space, so I'm going to have to stand this way. Forward. Good morning. I missed you last week. I know you didn't miss me because you had Rabbi Jamie and you had Laura here, so I did watch the service and it was amazing. So happy that they were here. I almost chose to drive back from Grand Lake so I could be here, but that would have been a long drive. And it was beautiful there. But I'm glad to be here with you this morning. I did miss you, and I just love being in this energy that's all around us here. So I don't know that we have too many things to let you know about today, but just a reminder of the camera, try not to walk in front of it if you can manage not to do that. And what else was I going to? Oh, I want to remind you or let you know, too, that we are a tithing organization, that we do give to Centers for Spiritual Living Home Office, and we also give to some organization here, and I can't remember now who we're giving to this month. Parker Task Force. And so we do share what comes in to this community with those organizations. So I wanted to let you know that, and we thank you for all the ways that you contribute. So before we go any further, Laura mentioned something this morning that just really inspired me, and it was that there's no limit to what we as light workers can do. Right? And so when we sing that song, I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that we can do, right? So let's just take a moment and breathe into that. Breathe into this moment, breathe into the light that is living itself in you, through you, as you. Letting go as much as you possibly can of any thoughts of lack or limitation, of fear, of worry, and simply embody, align to that energy of light and love right here, right now, that is the very essence of your being. And know that as you claim it, as you declare it, as you align to it and embody it, that you radiate that energy, that love and light into consciousness itself. And so that consciousness uplifts all. For you are the very essence of that light. And we are here, I believe, to shine that light brightly for all humanity, for all creation. Shining that light of love, claiming it, knowing it, and allowing it, and giving great gratitude for it. And so as we open ourselves up to that, as we know it for ourselves, for each other, and for all creation, we are grateful, and so it is. So I want to invite Dr. Vern up to tell us a little bit about a class. I think the mic is about here somewhere.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It is a beautiful day, isn't it? It's the day the Lord hath made, and let's rejoice in it. I'm here to tell you, let me back up a step. Part of my daily spiritual practice is my walks around the neighborhood through some very steep hills. And as I do that, I get to observe the neighborhood. And one of my neighbors has a car that sputters. And I'm like, they have a valve stuck or something. And then it reminded me that occasionally you and I get our spiritual valves stuck. And we sputter, don't we? And so we have the perfect class designed here that Spirit brought us, and it is called, what's it called? Spiritual Self-Care. And it's 6 weeks of a journey that Pam Eichenberger is going to co-facilitate with me, and we are going to discover and reveal 4 spiritual principles of self-care. And we're going to use one book called Stand Up for Your Life by Cheryl Richardson, and if you haven't read this book, it's worth reading. But in here, she does a process where she lists out about 100 spiritual values and asks you to then circle those that kind of strike a resonance with you. Then she says, okay, you got those circled, now narrow it down to 10. And after you get to 10, pray on those, and then come up with 4. That is not an easy exercise, I will tell you, but once you get to the 4, those are our bedrock spiritual values. And I have discovered my own, and they haven't changed much over history. And they are playful, connected, uplifting, and I forgot, there's another one that's in here. So we're going to discover our own 4 core spiritual values, and then we're going to take time to figure out and discover, how do I support and fine-tune those 4 core spiritual values. And then on top of that, one of the members of this community caught me at that table over there at the Learning Center one day and said, you know, there's this program where it's called No Complaints. And you get this little rubber band you put around your wrist, and when you complain, you pull it, or you switch it from one wrist to another. So we're going to incorporate that into it, and that's a 21-day process. And I've tried that. It isn't easy, let me tell you. But anyway, we're going to do it together, and I hope you can join us on this journey. If you have any questions, Pam or I will be at the Learning Center table afterwards, and that's it for me. And now I'm going to turn it over to, yes? Oh, the 1st of November. I'm going to now turn the microphone over to Vicki as she's going to lead us in prayer. Thank you, Vicki.
Good morning. It's so nice to be here and good to see you and be together. So nice. So the reading that I have chosen for today is from the March issue of our Science of Mind magazine. And these guides were contributed by Reverend Dr. Michael Gott, who is, if you don't know, he's a wonderful musician in the New Thought movement. He says, I think most of us have had the experience of wearing something that just didn't fit us correctly. We may continue to wear it because we love the color or the style, but we really do know it's not quite right. This happens in all areas of our lives. Our soul is asking for the right fit for its expression and experience. Years ago, I noticed something in my professional music career. The more authentic I was able to be in regard to my soul's expression, the more opportunities I received that were a fit for it. Early in my career, I would take whatever gig I could get because I needed to pay the bills. And they were all useful in that I learned what was and what wasn't a fit. I also gained valuable skills and expanded my musical vocabulary. But as I began to find more freedom and fulfillment in writing and performing for our New Thought communities, the other venues and genres held less appeal. They just didn't fit me anymore. I believe that if we are quiet and give ourselves the space for inquiry, we might find that we are spending more time and energy in activities and relationships that are not truly our highest calling. Get curious about it. Why am I doing this? What would I love to experience? Your soul is capable and as a capable and beautiful guide to find the perfect fit for you in this precious life. And the affirmation is, I am committed to showing up in authenticity. As I make this stand for my integrity, the universe responds. The perfect opportunities for me to give my gifts and express my true being are mine. So let's just take a moment and breathe this in. Knowing that Spirit is right here, right now, working in and through each one of us and wanting us to find the right fit for ourselves. In great gratitude, I say, and so it is.
When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Feel my soul when I pray. I feel my soul go deeper, my soul go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my soul go deeper, my soul go deeper into my God. Right here, right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here and right now, right where I am, I pray. I feel my love when I pray. I feel my love go deeper, my love go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my love, this love go deeper, this love go deeper into our God. Right here and right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here and right now, right where I am, I pray. Right where I am, right where I am, I pray.
So let's take that as we close our eyes, allowing that to be our affirmation this morning, right here, right now, in this very moment. I pray. And my prayer is that I go deeper. I surrender into spirit, surrender into love, aligning with love, aligning my heart and my mind and my soul. When I pray, my heart goes deeper. And so as you allow yourself just to go deeper into the awareness of that light, that love, that presence that is you, allow yourself to feel that presence, radiating in your heart, inspiring your mind, moving through every fiber of your being. When I pray, when I stop, when I center, when I listen, I feel, I know, I allow. And so continue to breathe. Breathe into that awareness. Breathe into the presence. And as you take a deep breath, allow yourself to come back into this space and time, refreshed, renewed, revitalized in the awareness of that which you are, I am. And so it is.
We're going to get a little high vibe here. Are you ready?
Yeah. Can I have the chord again? Yeah, chord.
Here we go. I think it's time for the letting go. Here we go. I think it's time for the letting go. I think it's time for the letting go. I think it's time for the letting go. Are you with us on this? I think it's time for the letting go. I think it's time for the letting go. I think it's time for the letting go. I must have been crazy to stand my ground. A queen with no fortune, defending her crown. I must have been out of my mind. You think I'd ever learned when every road to redemption crossed a bridge that I burned? Oh no, I think it's time for the letting go. I think it's time for the letting go. I think it's time for the letting go. Woo! Fists up high, proclaiming my case at the cost of my soul. Oh, such a disgrace to look inside at what I'd become, denying my freedom and enslaving the love that was made, for the sake of the rest of my life. I'm willing to surrender it all. The resentment and fears, the anger and tears. God, give me the strength to let it all go. I think it's time for the letting go. I think it's time for the letting go. I think it's time for the letting go. Forgiveness, what is all I had left to heal these wounds and clean up the mess. It's taking over. Well, the moment I knew I didn't have to be right anymore, for the sake of the rest of my life, yeah. I'm willing to surrender go, let it go. Let it go, for the sake of the rest of my life. I'm willing to surrender it all, the resentment and fears, the anger and tears, for the sake of the rest of my life, yeah. I'm willing to surrender it all, the guilt and the shame, the judgment and blame. God, give me the strength to let it all go, letting go. Think it's time for the letting go. Think it's time for the letting go. Sing if you feel it. Yeah. I think it's time for the letting go. Think it's time for the letting go. Think it's time for the letting go. Let it go. It's time for the letting go. Think it's time for the letting go. Think it's time for the letting go. One more time. I think it's time for the letting go. Think it's time for the letting go. Think it's time for the letting go. Say hi to Sydney on the keyboard and the vocals. Thank you.
How do you follow that? You guys are really awesome. We are so blessed, right, to have all of you. And thank you all for being here today. So, October, for those of you who may not have been here for the past few weeks, or maybe might want a little reminder, our theme is about paradox or polarities. And we're talking about that, polarities, and what polarities are, why we're talking about them, what the meaning, why do we even care about polarities. And so I want to remind you that, as I said a couple weeks ago, there's a man named Dr. Barry Johnson, PhD, who's done a lot of work, a lot of study about polarities. He's written several books on polarities, and he talks about how important it is for us to understand what polarities are, because they exist all around us. We live in polarities, and they live in us. And when we understand that, when we are willing to embrace that and understand that and work with that, then we can really live more consciously and more empowered lives. And so we've been talking about polarities. And the one thing I want to explore today with you, and I say explore because I'm still figuring it out, trying to figure it out. But it's something that was inspired in me during one of our recent classes. We've been doing a class on Beyond Limits, which is a very foundational class in religious science, science of mind. And it came up, and I've been pondering it ever since. And many of you may remember, if you have any background in Christianity, you may remember in the Christian scriptures where before he was arrested and crucified for sedition, Jesus went to the Garden of Gethsemane and he prayed. And if you remember in the story, he prayed a long time. He was in the garden for a long time, praying and contemplating. And he eventually, if you remember the prayer he prayed, was, "If it be thy will, take this cup from me." I don't want to do this, right? If I really had my way, I wouldn't suffer the pain and the agony of this crucifixion. However, not my will, but thy will be done. And I thought, what a perfect prayer. And I think I even said that in the class. And then after the class, I thought, well, is it? And we're looking at polarities. I'm thinking, is thy will and my will a polarity? Thy will and my will. And I think sometimes it can be a polarity. I mean, I know in my own life it can be a polarity because I know when I'm focused on my will, what I think I want, what I think I need, what I think is right, then I think sometimes that creates struggle and strife in me. And if I'm trying to force something to happen because I believe that I think it should be, then I may be stimulating that for other people. Anybody ever experienced that? Right? And I believe that, and I can speak from my personal experience that I think very often my will is born out of some level of fear. I'm believing I don't have what I need. I need something. I need to make something happen. I need to create it. Or I'm afraid that I'm going to lose something that I already have. Or I'm afraid I'm going to be abandoned. I'm afraid that I'm going to be ridiculed. I'm afraid that I'm not enough. I'm afraid that whatever is that I'm trying to make something happen. And I have to make it happen. Right? My will. What I want. I mean, you know, if I was in Jesus' place, I would say, I don't want to do this. You know? I don't want to suffer that kind of pain. And then on the other side of that, I think when I just totally think about And you know, and this has been my prayer really for a long time, I believe, is let me just surrender to Spirit. Let me just surrender to the flow. Let me just surrender to that life that is living in me, through me, as me. Use me, you know. Oh God, I stand for you. That kind of prayer, right? But I also recognize that if we focus solely on this idea, that I know it doesn't happen for anybody in this room, but it can become, it can be a couple of things, I think. It can become this idea, well, whatever happens in my life, well, that's just God's will. Just God's will for my life. Or if it happens in your life, if you have something that happens in your life, well, that's just God's will for your life. Or things happen in the world and people say, well, that's just God's will. Or we can be so determined that we can confuse God's will with our will. Can you believe that, right? I know, it's hard to believe, right? That it is, and that, you know, I've been watching way too many of these historical dramas on television. Especially these historical dramas about where the Europeans come over and they take the land from the native people and they kill all the native people and they force them to live. And I think they really believed it was God's will for them to have this land. And they really told themselves that it was God's will for them to take these children from their families, put them in schools, teach them English, and make them become Christians. They really believed that was God's will. Well, whose will was that, really? The king. Yeah. So we can be so convinced that I'm just surrendering to God's will in my life. And I think and again, I know that none of us do this, but it can be too, it can be this idea that, well, I know I don't have money, and I know I don't have things, and I know I'm just poor little me, but it's just God's will. Right? Yeah? Have you ever heard anybody do that? Right? It's just God's will. Yeah, right. Yeah. So do you see how that can become a polarity? It really can be a polarity. That not my will, but thy will. And so as we're talking about polarities, what we're talking about is let's recognize that goes on in us. Let's be aware that sometimes that arises in us. And what do we do with it? If we recognize those things are going on in us, where do we find that middle way, that third way between those two? Now, what I want to offer this morning is a prayer, an affirmation that I am doing my best to embody. That is a little different than I have things and I know I'm just poor little me, but it's just God's will. Right? Yeah? Have you ever heard anybody do that? Right? It's just God's will. Yeah, right. Yeah. So do you see how that can become a polarity? It really can be a polarity. That not my will, but thy will. And so as we're talking about polarities, what we're talking about is let's recognize that goes on in us. Let's be aware that sometimes that arises in us. And what do we do with it? If we recognize those things are going on in us, where do we find that middle way, that third way between those two? Now, what I want to offer this morning is a prayer, an affirmation that I am doing my best to embody that is a little different than not my will, but thy will. And it is this: I will to will the will of God. I am. I know, it's confusing. I will to will the will of God. I am. I will to will the will of God. I am. And what I mean by that is that in science of mind, in our philosophy, we teach, don't we, that we are an expression of the mind of God. And we have volition. That part of the power that we teach in science of mind is that we have the power to choose. We have the power to decide. We have the power to choose what we think. And when I say I will, what I mean is that we all, the I, is that directive power of mind. The I in you is your directive power of mind, and we all have it. I choose to will or to bring into manifestation, to bring into being the will of God. I am. And what I mean by that is that you are the very expression of the divine will of God, as we understand it. I want to share with you what, I may have shared this with you before, but what Dr. Holmes, our founder, says about God's will in Living the Science of Mind. He says God's will for all creation is self-expression. Since creation is an expression of this invisible cause, which we call God, nor can it be considered to be anything else, every constructive desire toward self-expression finds its prototype in the universal need for self-expression. The I am. What is the I am? The I am is your Christ nature. The I am is the very divine nature that you are. The I am is the very expression of all of the ideas of prosperity and love and joy and peace and all that we imagine that to be. And so that is your I am. And what is the will of God except for you to recognize it, realize it, and live it and express it? Right? Y'all are looking at me like, what the hell are you talking about? Right? What are you talking about? The will of God, as we understand it, is for each one of us to realize that truth, to live that truth, to express that, the self-expression, not the ego expression, but the divine self-expression, which is light and love and peace and joy and prosperity and health and wholeness and all of those ideas that we associate with God. So when you say, I choose, consciously choose, to will, to bring forth, to align to ignite in my own being, to embody the will of God that I am, you are choosing. Maybe it is in some way really surrendering to the will of God, but it is more than that. It is declaring, it is decreeing, it is choosing consciously to be that. And isn't that what we teach in our philosophy? It doesn't just happen until we decide for it to happen. How do we make that happen? How do we choose that? Well, one of the things that Laura was singing about earlier, I let go of all the other crap. But it's truly listening, connecting, meditating, contemplating what we call prayer. And this is a big thing in our class, spiritual mind treatment. Spiritual mind treatment is the term that we use for prayer, but don't confuse it with this idea of, dear God, please help me. It's not that. Spiritual mind treatment is a process that we teach, that you align your mind in that mind, knowing, connecting with the will of God as I understand it. Yeah? And declaring it, affirming it. What we teach in Science of Mind is that idea of recognizing that. Recognizing the will of God is the expression of your divine nature, and attuning to that, uniting with that, unifying with that, and then making your realization, your declaration of that. I am the love of the divine. I am the prosperity. I am the wholeness. I am the peace. I am the joy. I am the light. I am the love. I am that in expression. And it takes that directive power of your mind to do that. And my mind to do that. And then what arises in that awareness? What arises in us? Well, just take a moment right now. Close your eyes. Take a breath. Let go of anything, any trying to comprehend anything that I might be saying or not saying, and just be present in this moment. letting go as much as you possibly can of any cares or concerns or worries, and just be here now. And invite that awareness. Invite the awareness of that power and presence. God, source, universe, life energy, however you might understand it, and know that it is the fullness, the completeness of all that is. And then affirm, declare for yourself, I am that I am. I am that I am. And then whatever you might be experiencing in your life, claim right here and right now with the realization that you are that energy, that vibration and expression. I am wholeness. I am prosperity. I am love. I am that very nature of the divine. And I choose in this moment to recognize it, to realize it, and to feel that energy in my being. And what arises in that is the great gratitude, great fullness, the great fullness of life, of spirit, of that energy. And what pours out of that is gratitude, thanksgiving. And then in that place, you just realize, you give thanks, you breathe, and you let go. You let go. But from that place of knowing your truth, and choosing, I choose to bring forth in my mind, in my heart, in my being, in my life, the will of God I am. For me to self-realize, to self-express, to live the fullness of that life that is living itself as me, however I choose to do that. And we affirm it by saying, and so it is. So again, I'm just offering this up as my own pondering, my own questioning, my own awareness that within me that happens, that polarity is moving. When my great desire is to just be in the flow of spirit, to just allow myself to be used, to release and let go. But what I know about that is that in the middle way, I have to make the choice. I have to make the choice. It is the I that chooses. What are we going to choose? What if we choose that middle way? And we allow thy will to be my will. Yeah? Thy will of light and love and peace and joy and prosperity and self-realization, the unique self that you are. Allow that to become your will. Yeah? And to live that fully. You know, our theme for the year is living out loud. So let's live that out loud. Yeah? All right, so take a moment again, just take a breath. As we take all of that in, we open our hearts, we open our minds, we open ourselves up and declare in this moment, I choose. I choose. And if you can remember it, I invite you to say it with me. I will to will the will of God I am. Let's say it together. I will to will the will of God I am. And really allow that to resonate in your mind and your heart. You claim it, you allow it, you be it. You be the very will of God. You are the very will of God. And as you claim it, as you allow it, and you allow it to become so, it does become so. Because it already is so. But you have to allow it. You get to choose it. And we are grateful in the knowing, grateful in our willingness to claim it, and grateful for our willingness to be it. And together let us say, and so it is. So thank you. Thank you for being here. And thank you for your consciousness. And so now is a time in our service where we do get to share from our good as our ushers prepare to come forward with our offering baskets. We're so grateful for all the ways that you give and for those who give recurringly and online in different ways. We're so blessed. And we are a prosperous community. And so take what you're going to share. If you're going to, there's no obligation with that either. Just, if you're going to share, take it in your hands. If you've already shared, just hold your hands together in front of your heart and allow that energy to move through your heart, to bless, to give thanks. So we know that we are blessed. We open ourselves in the receiving, we open ourselves in the giving. And we are grateful, and we are blessed, and we are a blessing. And together let us say, and so it is.
From the darkest place to a higher space, calling from every direction. On every single path I have stood strong, then cowered fast. What a strange perception. Well, life is demanding, but I am understanding. The best I could was where I stood for higher good and a greater truth. Where once it was covered, and now I have proof. There's a bigger lesson, one I never expected, rising up from misunderstood, a higher good. Oh, yeah. Now I'm always getting ready on steps that are so unsteady, dancing the same old dances. I am never really sure how to fit myself through the door. Well, it's all part of taking chances. When life is demanding, but I'm understanding. The best I could was where I stood for a higher good and a greater truth. wider view and play, much wider view, and it brings me home to revel on this fine, fine day, this fine day for a higher good and a greater truth, where once it was covered, now I have proof. There's a bigger lesson, yeah, one I never expected. Rising up, I am rising up from misunderstood. Higher good, higher good.
That's John and Harry and Sydney and Alan. Thank you.
I just had God just told me something.
Was it God?
We should have a totally musical service sometime.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that would be
We
awesome.
would like that.
That would be great. What do you think? Yay! We should do that sometime. So let's all stand if you're willing and able as we bless our offering. As we open up to knowing that we are the will of God made manifest. We are that expression in perfect divine order. And we are grateful. And we are grateful for the way that life expresses itself in so many ways through us, as us. We are blessed by these gifts and offerings today. We know that they are given in love and they are shared in love. And we are grateful. And so it is. Amen. Thank you.
Amen. Well, we're going to sing ourselves out. We're going to...
Ready?
1, 2.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more trouble, no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release, yeah, I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, Lord, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
All right. Thank you all. Thank you. Let's close with our affirmation one more time. I will to will the will of God I am. Together. I will to will the will of God I am. And so it is. Have a great week.